I'm supposed to be building a carburetor for somebody, but I'm having to take time out because there are people bitching and complaining all over the internet that I'm a mechanical menace, I don't know what I'm doing, and just got Farrar's car fucked up to a fairly well. And I noticed none of these people are volunteering to come down here to help. All they're doing is just lobbing peanuts from the sidelines. So, first and foremost, Farrar's car is back in my driveway. Okay, it drove into my driveway. I ran out of gas, people. The gas gauge doesn't work, It happens. It's not the end of the world. I had a gallon of gas here at the house, put another 5-gallon tank. There's 6 gallons in the tank right now. I'll try to keep a closer eye on the fuel level. I ran out of gas. I'm not the first person to run out of gas, but apparently I'm the worst person to run out of gas. But anyway, this box here, this is not the totality of Farrar's shift system. This is one component of many components. There are multiple components that make up the system that operates the solenoids in the transmission. You have all these components, and they're all hardwired together, although in Farrar's case here, he's got additional wires going to another component he spliced in behind the seat. So you've got multiple pieces that are all wired together, and they're all working together to turn 2 solenoids on and off. All this complexity is merely to activate and deactivate 2 solenoids. And I saw the solenoids when I had the pan off his transmission. They're not real big. All this pain and aggravation for 2 solenoids. But this here is a diagnostic port. This is what you're supposed to use to tell what's going on with your solenoids. I'm just using this as an access point so I can get into his solenoids. Because the problem he has, somewhere in the system, for some reason, it is putting 12 volts on the ground side of both solenoids, which prevents them from energizing. That's why it's stuck in 3rd gear. If neither solenoid is energized, you're in 3rd gear. Because it is putting 12 volts on the negative side of both the solenoids, neither one of them can activate, and so he's stuck in 3rd gear. And I don't know where the problem is. I don't know if it's in here. I don't know if it's in, this thing behind the seat. I don't know if it's inside the transmission. There are pieces that you have to take the transmission apart to get out. And I'm able to activate the solenoids manually just doing this. I know nobody likes this, but it allows you to activate the solenoids without taking the damn transmission apart. I'm using a blue wire and a red wire because those match the wire colors inside his diagnostic port. I know they don't match a picture. There's a picture that's making the rounds on the internet, and it has like a yellow and a brown wire. Farrar's are blue, green, and red. So I used blue, green, and red wire because that matches these wires. All I have to do is match blue to blue, red to red, green to green, and it's wired up the way it's supposed to be wired up. And you don't even need green. The only purpose of the green was to power those LEDs on that little box, and they burned out. So really all he needs is red and blue. Match blue to blue, red to red, this thing's wired up correctly. It disappears through this grommet here. Okay. Everything in the car passes through this grommet. I mean, there's like, I don't know how many wires going through this grommet. Just a bazillion wires go through the grommet, but it's the only way to get into the passenger compartment. The wires come up here to the evil box. Nobody likes the box. Even Farrar doesn't like the box. I like the box because it allows me to get the car out of my driveway. This box here, this is nothing more than a conduit box from Lowe's. This would ordinarily be screwed to the wall and it have an electrical outlet in it or a light switch in it or something like that, a conduit coming out of it, and that's how you would wire up an outlet or a light switch in an industrial application. I need a metal box because these light fixtures, these came from Lowe's. These are just standard AutoZone, just standard AutoZone light fixtures, but they're made for a metal-bodied car, so they only have one wire. That's the positive supply wire. The bulb is grounded through the metal bracket on the bulb. So I need a metal box. See, this is mounted, or this is attached to chassis ground. See, this here takes us to chassis ground. The whole box here is grounded, and that's what grounds these light bulbs. And you need the light bulbs because this puts an electrical load on the red and blue ground sides of the solenoids, allowing them to re-energize and go back to being first and second gear. So right now both light bulbs are turned on, and so you're in first gear. Turn off the red solenoid, now you're in second gear. Turn off the blue solenoid, now you're in third gear. Second gear, first gear. Now I know it was a little fiddly the other day when I was driving, but that's because I was holding the camera in my left hand. I only had this hand to work both the steering wheel and the box. Before I made that video, I was driving with my left hand in the steering wheel, and this is how I drove. I had my arm resting on the console, and I was ready for second gear, and flip that one, ready for third gear, and then second gear. It was not worlds removed from operating a 5-speed gear shift lever, really. I mean, it's not difficult to use the box at all. You know, you're at a stoplight. You know, you're in third gear. Come up to the next stoplight. Now, I did not go directly from third to first. I was afraid I'd blow up something. So I would go back into second and then back into first. And I just used the tachometer. I tended to rev higher in the upshifts than I did in the downshifts. I would be like 3,000 to 4,000 upshifting, and then a little closer to 2,000 downshifting. But, you know, I drove far enough to burn up a tank of gas, people. I mean, I drove all over Laurinburg trying this thing out, and it worked just fine. You know, I guarantee you it would get Farrar home. Consider this. There are two ways that this car is going home. Option number one, it gets towed home. Now, I live 4 miles from the South Carolina border. Okay, I live at the bottom of the state. I'm about 1,000 miles from Farrar's house. So if this car gets towed home, it's getting towed 1,000 miles, and when it gets to Farrar's driveway, it will still be stuck in third gear, unless it somehow manages to heal itself while, you know, being towed on the trailer. So that's option number one. Option number two is you use the evil box, which works. You know, I drove it for about an hour. I'm going to get back to test driving it. Partly because I'm glad to be able to get the damn car out of my driveway. Remember, this thing's been sitting in my driveway for more than a year, people. So, you know, it's time for it's not my car. The car needs to go home and live with its rightful owner. You know? So, this little box will work fine. You know, it's going to spend most of its time like that, in third gear, because it'll be on the interstate. So, for most of the trip, it'll be like that. When it's time to buy gas, so come up to the stop sign, you know, get off the interstate, go into the gas station, fill up the car with gas, get back on the interstate, now he's on the interstate, now I got to come up to the toll booth, you know, pay the toll, get on the New Jersey Turnpike, now he's on the New Jersey Turnpike. The little box works. It works just fine. But nobody likes the little box but me. So I've got a dash cam that I bought, and the instructions for it are printed like in 1-point type, and they're translated by somebody who obviously didn't have a firm grasp of the English language. So I'm just going to have to do trial and error to try to get that dash cam to work. But if I can get the dash cam to work, that would allow me to drive the car with both hands, so you can then see that this is what it's going to look like. You're going to see me doing this, you're going to see me doing this. That's all you're going to see. And I'll be wiggling the steering wheel with the other hand. So, you know, I know nobody likes the little box, but this is the only way to make his solenoids work. I don't know where the failure is in the system. You got to remember, I don't. There's multiple boxes that inside the boxes are capacitors and resistors and diodes and all kinds of things, and I have no capability of analyzing all that stuff and diagnosing it. I don't have an oscilloscope. If I had an oscilloscope, I wouldn't know what I was looking at. I know how to make this, and I know nobody likes this, but this works. And you know, if one of you people that's bitching and complaining wants to come down here, take Farrar's transmission apart. Because remember, to get access to this crap, you got to pull it all out. So that means that I'll jack the car up for you. I'll put it up on jack stands for you. You can then take his transmission apart, take all that crap out of the transmission. You got the box on the firewall. You got the box behind the seat. And then you can figure out where the failure is. You know, because I'm not doing that. As far as I'm concerned, I did what I was asked to do. There is an engine in the car where the previous engine had about 6 quarts of antifreeze in the crankcase. There's some sort of a god-awful compromise between his coolant jacket and the crankcase on the 2.8. So I've got a 3.0 with a distributor where a distributor never was before. It runs fine as long as you got fuel in the tank. I drove it for about an hour. What was that? That was Sunday, Saturday, whatever day I ran out of fuel. And I did what I was asked to do. You know, we're now going above and beyond the call of duty. And all these people that are bitching and complaining, I don't see any of them volunteering to come down here and help. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, until they have grease underneath their fingernails, they've forfeited their right to complain. So, you know, there it is. Farrar's little car. I'm just trying to get it home to its rightful owner. Watch this space.